Hello, this is Blue Star, Defender of Equestria, and this is my next focus on video. Hitch and the Dragon in Make Your Mark. Roar! Wow, I didn't really see that coming, but I must admit, I was kind of caught off guard by Hitch in, Make Your Mark. There was a lot of things that I thought were kind of confusing. It's like, I think right off the bat, it's like, wow, Hitch is trying to hide the fact that he found this egg? I really don't understand why. He saw an egg that was clearly in trouble. He rescued it. He took it back to the police station. He did what any good sheriff should, in all honesty. But for some reason, he's trying to hide it. Could you, not let the other ponies know about this yet? It's like, sure, I can zip it. Good one. I've always liked Hitch. Me and Hitch would definitely get along. It's like, don't worry, I will save you. He seems a very strong, determined pony and stuff, so why all of a sudden is he now hiding the fact that he found this egg and he's actually enjoying taking care of it? I kind of feel like Hitch is supposed to be almost a representation of the bronies. In a new generation, I would like to think this is a, welcome the bronies to the show that was primarily a girl show. I'm glad that you're here, Hitch. I honestly do not know if this was intentional or not, or was it just simply a thing of the character, but I always like to think of this as being, the staff saying, bronies, you're welcome to be here and we're glad that you're here. So if that's true, this almost kind of feels sort of like how the bronies kind of feel sometimes. It's like, I can't let anybody know I like the show for 6-year-old girls. But it could also be more simply, is this big, strong stallion character. So for him to be liking eggs and critters and stuff would be kind of unusual for him. It's like, I'm the sheriff. I'm not supposed to like dragon eggs and stuff, I like and dislike this at the same time. In some ways, Hitch is broken, that he's finally given in some ways to the critter magnet that was established in A New Generation. But this has always been a part of his character. It's part of his cutie mark. You look at his cutie mark and you see, the shield, which is obviously supposed to be, for the sheriff and, protect your maritime maid. But there's also these 2 little green hearts, which I think represent the critters. So the whole critter thing has been part of his character all along, but it's been kind of overshadowed by the sheriff side, shall we say. So maybe that's why he's so nervous. It's like he feels like he has to project that strong sheriff image, and this is sort of undermining that. Or it's like, I can't let them see that I, like chicken critters. So yeah, so that kind of makes me sad, but it also makes me kind of good. Because if you want to look at Hitch as being almost like a representation of the bronies, yeah, he's a guy, but he still likes critters and stuff, and he can still be the strong sheriff character. He doesn't have to be one or the other. He can be both, and I think that's good. And as bronies, I think we identify with that. And I think it is good to show that ponies and people are not just simply one-dimensional. We're not just one thing. That we can be good at 1 or 2 things, but we can like other stuff too. I think the long story short is, I think the main 5 are less quote-unquote elements of harmony and more like real people. They're not just that one thing. For example, Pip, it's like, yeah, she's primarily a social media star, a performer, but she also knows about hairstyling. Honestly, I didn't see that coming, but good for her. Real people are a lot more complicated than most characters on children's television shows, because they usually like to pick okay, we'll make that character that one thing, but here it's not as easy as that. And that might be the thing that's going on with Hitch right now, is that we're seeing this side that we have not really seen before. We've sort of been told that it's there, but so far Hitch hasn't really expressed any interest in it. But now that he's seen this dragon firsthand, that might be changing. All I'm going to say is that a lot of guys may not necessarily have interest in kids until they become a father themselves, and then everything changes. And that's kind of what happened to Hitch here. He's essentially become the adoptive father of this child, and taking on that role completely changes his perspective, and it's like, don't worry, I will protect you. That might be why he's all of a sudden had interest in this dragon. It's like, don't worry, I will protect you. That sheriff protecting, defending side is kind of being expressed onto this egg. It was just a helpless egg. If Hitch had not helped this egg, this story would not have ended well. He's found a critter that he really wants to defend and protect the same way that he would defend and protect Maritime Bay. So, or in short, he's basically become a father. So, yay! me! The other thing that I thought was strange in this episode was that whole scene with Hitch on the beach. Because when Hitch is asked, "Is magic allowed on the beach, Sheriff Hitch?" Well, it's not allowed? Let me go back to the station, I'll get back to you. As a computer programmer, I've identified both sides of this situation, which was, I really don't know how to handle this, so I'm just going to be going. The other is, I'll get back to you, is usually the thing you say when I really don't know what's going on. Let me go look at this, and I'll see if I can actually figure out what's going on. I mean, Hitch's behavior seemed kind of strange to me, but as a computer programmer again, I've in some ways encountered this situation, which is when a computer doesn't know how to respond to something, it just goes, what do I do? Hitch is kind of in that situation where there isn't a law or a code to say, is the magic allowed or not allowed on the beach? Normally, Hitch would be like, well, Rule 577 says, no, it's absolutely allowed. Unfortunately for Hitch, it's like, well, there's no rule for me to quote, I don't know if this is allowed or not, but it's not allowed, so I guess it is. It's okay. Hitch is a pony of the law, and without a law here, he really doesn't know how to respond to this. But even so, I'm still kind of disappointed that Hitch should say, of course magic is allowed on the beach. I mean, it's allowed everywhere else. But that's an interesting thought in itself, because I think the long story short is there must have been laws that, restricted magic in Maritime Bay. Obviously, those laws are no more, because otherwise we'd be arresting all the other ponies, and that would be bad. But there's probably still some sort of vague areas, like, is magic allowed or not allowed here? And they've probably still got to figure out those kinds of things, because after all, magic has only been back for a couple months. Yeah, so Hitch is kind of stuck here, and I have a feeling these kind of situations might be appearing in the future. You know, where and how can you use magic? I must admit, at first, I really wasn't thrilled with Hitch's behavior in Make Your Mark. Yeah, but we're still exploring these characters and learning a lot more about them. And this is probably the first time that the critter-loving side of Hitch has actually had a way to be expressed, and the fact that now he has magic to actually understand critters has definitely changed everything for him. These critters that, you know, followed him around and stuff, now he can actually talk to them and understand them, so that was definitely a huge deal for him. And I have to say, it's like, how come I can understand every creature except this adorable baby dragon? He was just born like a couple hours ago. In some ways, deserves a whole separate video of like, where did this dragon egg come from? Why is it here? And why now? Honestly, I don't really have answered those questions because we really don't know anything about this egg other than it was washed up on a beach. I have this crazy theory that maybe the supervillain has something to do with this because there's just like purple smudge on the bottom of the egg. So maybe the supervillain is somehow responsible for this and somehow wants this egg to be there. Otherwise, we pretty much know nothing about this dragon egg, but it is definitely so cool to have dragons back in Equestria. So, roar! So overall, Hitch's behavior in Make Your Mark was a bit surprising at first, and in some ways it still kind of is. But maybe this shows that, you know, that we're learning more about Hitch and that he has more than one side. And there could be more to Hitch than just a strong stallion sheriff that we know him, and that maybe he has some more other sides. And it'll be interesting to explore all of those. So I look forward to learning more about Hitch, the possible other sides that we haven't seen yet, and the dragon, and see where all this goes in the future. So, roar! And Hitch is just such a great dad. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, thank you for commenting, liking, and subscribing, and until next time, this is Blue Star. Stay strong, and pony on. Blue Star out.